Well, Sean, first jumping ride of the season's out of the way, a bit out of breath, but it's a long season ahead.
It's definitely nice. Good to blow the cobwebs out and good to get around safely.
We are struggling for numbers here today with the very dry track and numbers of jockeys. How are things looking in the CD for the jumpers? I know there's a point-to-point at Levin on Tuesday. You expecting big numbers there?
Yes, I think there's definitely the numbers there. I'd probably expect 40 to 50 horses probably turn up on Tuesday, but obviously with the weather around the whole countryside, it's been very dry and like what I've seen at home, what I've been schooling at, there's plenty of horses there just probably waiting for a bit of moisture around, but at the same time we do need riders, and as seen today probably lacking a few that have that need to front up and to keep the game going.
Okay, so NZTR's now putting the money there and you're telling me there's enough horses. What's the problem with the riders? Is it just not enough money or regular rides in it, Sean, to keep people interested?
I think with the increase in prize money, there definitely has to be money. And I mean, racing for $30,000 today, equivalent to open handicaps and Saturday grade races. So I definitely think the boost in prize money, there is the incentive to actually have a jumper and for riders to actually turn up and ride them. But maybe due that riders have their own jobs as well. They're probably not involved with a full-time jumping stable, and maybe the lack of people actually teaching them to jump properly and trying to support those riders to come out and school them, and the riders actually putting their foot forward and offering to come out and school them. So a mixture of different things, but I think from what I've seen, there's everything there to actually have a go, and it should be successful if done properly.
Do you think there are more people who could get involved if they had a mentor or a trainer or somebody to help them take those first steps to becoming a jumps rider?
Oh, definitely. I think anyone can jump a horse. I mean, teaching them jump slow, and I mean, you'll find that person starts to teach a horse to jump, they get a bit of confidence out of that horse and they're quite happy to take the next step up and do a little bit more. But yeah, I've seen anyone can teach a horse to jump. They've just got to be instructed how to do it properly and sort of get a bit of confidence with the horse.
Is it concerning for a guy like you who is at the top echelon of New Zealand jumps riding about that lack of other riders coming through and therefore making the racing sustainable?
It is concerning, definitely. I think for anyone that's been in the game for a while, it's definitely concerning. There's no bigger thrill than riding a good jumper and winning a big jumps race. So, you'd never compare that thrill to anything else. And I think definitely with the increase in prize money, I mean, there's huge incentive to give it a go, and it is very rewarding.
Well, Sean, we spoke to Sean Fanning before, and he said for you leading riders over the jumps, it's worrying signs about not having enough rival riders.
Yeah, it's obviously we're lacking riders at the moment. You can blame a few things, obviously COVID would have a lot to do with it too, because in years gone past we've had the visiting jockeys from the UK and they obviously can't get out here. I know we are trying to find some to get over here now that you can do it, but like for instance a guy like Will Gordon, he came here a couple of years ago and now he's the next Johnny Allen in Australia. So I think if we can maybe promote something to the overseas to get some over, or if there is some couple of young sort of riders around New Zealand that want to have a go at it, I think it's an awesome career, and it's definitely takes you places that you wouldn't believe.
Okay, so you're at the high levels of jumps riding yourself, but you're also a trainer of flat horses. Do you think there's room for more horses who maybe are struggling on the flat to go to jump stables or to come to you? Or do you think a lot of people, there's a mystique about jumping which there doesn't need to be?
Yeah, maybe. Definitely we've got the right breeding, haven't we? So, for example, a horse that's won 2 or 3 on the flat and it might be just battling away, like a trainer or an owner could come to myself or Sean Fanning or anyone that's a jumps jockey and say, look, can you jump this horse for me? Tell me what you think. Is it worth persevering? Then they're 20 grand races here in New Zealand now over the jumps. So it's not many horses that can race around for 20 grand, is there? That have only won 2 or 3 races. And then you've also got the aspects of you could sell your jumper to Australia. They're screaming out for the New Zealand bred horses for jumping races, and there's good money in that as well. So it actually gives these horses another lease of life.
Sean, Is it worth saving jumps racing in New Zealand, in your belief, when you take into account the fact that it extends horses racing careers, it brings staff on board who are very useful trials or track work riders? Is it worth doing?
Oh, 100%. Look at the people in the game that are doing jumps. You know, they're horsemen. You know, it'd be like saying, look at a guy like Kieran Maher in Australia. He was originally a jumps jockey, jumps trainer. Look what he is now. You know, it's an opportunity to get people into the game, and it's a different breed of you know, the horse people that do it. They've, you know, jumps racing is a different fraternity. You know, no disrespect to the flat racing that, but jump racing people, they're a different breed. You know, and hopefully we can build it back up this year.
Well, as a dyed-in-the-wool jumps passionate man, not having outside of the Grand National any jumps racing in the South Island, probably hurt a wee bit.
It's a shame, Greg, but it's Sadie died a natural death. We had the cost of training a jumper, let alone flying North Island jockeys down with no depth here, jockeys. So, yeah, it's sad, but it's always going to happen.
Is it as much about not having the riders to be able to ride them during the week, or not breeding them perhaps to be jumpers anymore, or is it a combination of that, or is it also a lack of, I suppose, skilled trainers to be able to train the jumpers?
I wouldn't say lack of skill from the trainers, but flying jockeys down, as I say, it's a lot of cost, and no one down here to school them as such. It's hard to educate them if you haven't got jumps riders, as in the past. We had a lot of depth, be 10, 12 jumps jockeys down here, but that's gone. So basically, that's what's happened. Yeah.
Great carnivals like Riverton, where you've had huge success, 3 Great Westerns I know in the bank for you. To not have those anymore is, well, the history's over.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. We've probably seen the best of it in the South Island to boot. There's no jumps racing in the South Island other than the Grand National week here. It's sad to say, but it's dying a natural death in the South Island.
What about the future of the National? Because surely if we're bringing all of the horses and riders and trainers essentially down from the North Island, they can't all get money. So do you fear for the future of it down here as well?
Oh, dead right, Greg. When you've got a ride on the North Island that's coming down here to support our meeting, we've got no one down here. Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs, but it is what it is.
You had Ringbolt last year. Do you have anything in the stable this year that you thought might be able to make it as a jumper? And therefore, what do you do if you have?
Well, basically, it is a waste of time having a jumper or so-called jumper down here now. You've got to send it up north, a lot of cost. So basically, I haven't entertained the idea anymore. I concentrate on the flat horse now, as it is.
Pretty sad, isn't it?
It is. You come in the winter, you get crowds watching jumpers going around. Now we're looking at a heavy 10, watching these slow maidens go around, 20 of the furlong. It's not a good look, but it's out of my hands.